Hello, hello. Welcome everybody to the Brink SBDC workshop on goal setting and investor readiness. So we're really excited to have this upfront and personal with everybody. It's strategizing for success in 2025. So we're excited about starting this off. Hopefully everybody's doing well. It's 5 o'clock, the end of the day, long day, but we got this. We got this. And strategizing for a really great year is always a little bit of strategy, a little bit of actionable things. I'm more of a strategist, but I like to get things done. So you'll hear a little bit of that. I wanted to be mindful also that this type of like goal setting and strategy session, we cover usually about 4 times a year at at the Brink SBDC. So if you've heard it before, I tried to be a little bit more specific to investor relations and how we can strategize and goal set around, let's say, a fundraise, or that you're getting ready to fundraise or getting ready to get investors in front of you, right? So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows I'm very mindful about that. When I am presenting, I can't see the chat very well, but I will pause ever so often and come back to the chat. Lastly is that I do have a goal setting worksheet that I'll share with everybody in the chat in a little bit as we're getting that ready. But there's a couple of things that we're going to do first to get you ready for thinking about your 2025 more strategically. It's a little bit, as a scientist myself, it's a little bit woohoo, right? And that's okay. We need to do some woohoo and strategy ever so often and not be so data driven, but I am data driven. So I'm going to be talking about that as well. So wanted to start that off easily. So I think that's the right one. Yes. Perfect. Yes, it is. Whew. I will share my screen. Hopefully everybody can see this. Okay, there we go. I'm pretty sure everybody can see it. Steven, can you see it?
Yep, you're all good.
Okay, cool. So wanted to see the whole entire course is strategized for success in 2025. And I will always take an abundant mindset approach to strategy and goal setting, and really wanting to see how do we define your competitive edge. Because you can goal set and you can say, look, I want to be better at this. But if we can think about what is uniquely you as a startup, then you can really say, what is that competitive edge that I'm really I'm good at, and why my customers buy from me, and how I'm going to outcompete my competitors in, let's say, a crowded marketplace, or that you're secondary to market and you want to make sure that you stand out. And we're going to build a roadmap for success in 2025. And success is also a term that I don't like to just throw around, because success is actually in the mind of the beholder, right? Success is what you want to define it as. So my success is different than your success. That's different from somebody else. And this age of social media, it's very, very easy to find fault in yourself. Compare yourself to others that maybe look amazing on Instagram or on TikTok. And we all know that there's a filter there really of life, but sometimes it just stings ever so often. So I just want everybody to know that the roadmap that you're creating today is yours. And you can set success be, let's say success for you is gaining 5 clients. And maybe the person next to you, right, quintessentially, is about 200 clients because they have a scalable system, blah. It doesn't matter. You are here, you're uniquely made, and you're going to get this done today. So some inspiration a little bit is from Andreessen Horowitz is dream boldly, execute relentlessly, because the future belongs to those who build it. So I love this quote because sometimes I don't let myself as an entrepreneur, and also as an investor, to dream boldly. Right, to dream about what it's going to look like in a year when I really step into my uniqueness and I execute relentlessly. What does that look like? Because we're going to build that thing that we want in the next year. So I'm going to hopefully set you up for success in that we want to build towards that. I'm going to be always kind of focusing you on that long-term goal that you want to get to the end of the year. This is me. If nobody knows who I am, Dr. Sylvia Ma, and I've been an advisor at the Brink for over 2 years, and I've built accelerators. I've also invested in over 160 companies, and I'm originally from Caracas, Venezuela, so it doesn't look like it, but I'm Latina, and I love my coffee, and I love having coffee meetings with people. And I think that as a startup founder, having coffee meetings with investors and other entrepreneurs, you can actually check your goals and check your progress on those goals throughout the year by just a simple, bold cup of coffee. So I just wanted to kind of start that off that way. So I wanted to see if we don't mind sharing in the chat, what do you want to take away from this session so that I know how you're coming in now that you know a little bit of what we're going to be discussing. What do you want to take away from this session? And I'm going to check the chat. Chat it up, peoples. Give you a couple seconds. Some people seek clarity when they're doing goal setting. I just did a goal setting session on Friday with women entrepreneurs that were affected by the LA fires, and they were feeling like they were numb because of the fires, that everything was kind of in a haze, not just, physically, but in their heads as well, because things are so different. So by setting goals and kind of sitting down with each other, we were able to have some clarity. Angeli, thank you for sharing. It's tips on how other business owners set their goals. Yeah, and we're going to set some goals right now. And then the other person says, figuring out how to pick a direction to focus on in 2025 and in the next quarter in particular. Yeah, and thank you for setting that, because typically we can set goals for the first quarter really well. We're like, we can get this done, blah, 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 blah. And then quarter 2, 3, 4 is a little bit more like, well, if this happens in Q1, I can do this. However, we can set goals for each quarter by saying this is an event or a milestone I want to get to, and then reverse engineer back to today what we need to get do to get there. And an easy one is sales in that an aspect. If I want to get to, let's say, 200 new customers, and I'm like, okay, every single month for 12 months, how many do I need to get? Right? I can do it that way, and then say, okay, every month I have to do that. Every week, therefore, I need to get 2 new customers. Let's say that's how the math goes. Then it's like, well, that means that I need to reach out to a lot more, maybe like 5, 6, 7 clients. If it's about like a 20% client retention rate, you want to make our customer acquisition rate, then you want to just be able to do that easily. Matt, thank you. Develop a new process to implement and better track objectives and goals. Great. Allison says, set milestones we need to hit as a business to successfully close a pre-seed funding round. Thank you. Frame up goals, focus on for a new venture. What's realistic to expect? Yes. Well, that's also a little bit of what you can do, right? And how to market product. Okay. So the realistic piece, I just want to attack that right now, is that what's realistic to expect. One thing that I'm going to be asking, you don't have to share, right? Just in general, everybody on the call, is that realistic is also within your reach, right? So I've worked with a couple of entrepreneurs that they have a full-time job and they're doing the entrepreneurial thing on the side. Who's doing that? Yeah, lots of us, right? But sometimes it's like, look, I have every Saturday that I can do something. Okay, great. Let's work with every single Saturday, so that every single Saturday you get together with your team or yourself. Usually it's yourself because you're a solopreneur, and you have a certain amount of goals that you need to get done. And that Saturday you get them done, and then you can go on along with your week knowing that you've done it, right? So that's a huge level of accomplishment. And know that realistic is set what you can actually do, right? In your calendar and your schedule. So great. Thank you so much for being interactive that way. So what we're going to do is really go through the State of the Union with everybody, what your one word of the year is, a little bit of a competitive advantage, your KPIs, North Star. I know this is a lot in an hour, but we're going to get there, and then get to the 1-year goal, and then some SMART goals. So first off, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to write this all out on a piece of paper, or if you're on a computer, go ahead. So 4 quadrants or 4 pieces is the state of the union of where you are right now, right? Take a breath, plant your feet and say, okay, what I love to do, what I should be doing, what I hate to do, and what I shouldn't be doing. So that is more of like setting the presence of what you love to do, what you can only do, and what you hate to do, so that maybe you can delegate. And what you should be doing is, oh, I need to be focused on this. And if people are fundraising, I want to make sure that we're really setting you up for success today. Is what investors I want to add to my cap table, and what values do I want to build with my startup. Those are the 4 quadrants, and then just a little bit about what type of investor you want to be on your cap table and what values do you want to build your startup on. So I'll give you a couple minutes to fill this out in a piece of paper or whatever you have. And if people want to share in the chat, that would be fantastic. I'll just give you some jazz. Okay, I gave you about 2 minutes there. If anybody would like to share in the chat, go ahead and pick one of them and let us know so that we can learn from everybody. One of the things that I love to do as my strength finder is I'm a learner. So I love to do is I love to research. I love to read. I have to actually set timers in my day and in my week that I don't do it as much because I could be there all day long. And what I should be doing is my job, right? Of analyzing data, getting students ready, working with clients at the Brink SBDC. So and I love doing that, but what I love for my joy and my heart and who I am, I love to research and I love to read. And read like business stuff, not like pleasurable stuff. So anybody else wants to share in the chat? Go ahead. You can raise hand. Kay Togi.
Hi, I'm Kelly Togerson. How are you?
Good, good. Oh, hey, yeah. Want to
Hi.
share something?
I do. The very first thing that came to mind was what I love to do and what I hate to do. And it's really funny because I was thinking about it in the car today, how what I hate to do is really right now anything that gets in the way of this, because I'm so gung-ho and I'm so excited. And I'm like you, I love to do the research. I mean, I will go down rabbit holes of research, and that has benefited us greatly. But I used to be a reporter and I'm a professor, so I like that kind of stuff. Like, I'm really, really curious. So I love creating, I love helping people, I love innovating new ideas. I mean, I get high just talking about that kind of stuff. It's like, woo, I get so excited. And I love research and meeting people. But what I hate to do is almost everything that gets in the way of that. Sometimes I feel like grading papers is in the way and laundry is in the way. And I don't want to do these things. I just want to laser focus on this thing that I'm so excited about. So I think that's definitely something that I have to work on is still keeping that full-time job of having to teach still, hopefully just a little while longer, and getting all of the things done that need to be done while being so excited.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And similar to what I shared is that sometimes setting timers of doing like an 1 hour of what brings you joy or what you don't like to do. You can also set a timer of 1 hour saying, I don't like to do it, but I'm going to do it. Other ways is, let's say in a month, you can say the third Thursday of every single month, I go through all my financials. So you're not like ruminating as an entrepreneur. I haven't done it, haven't done it, haven't done it, haven't done it. It's more of like every third Thursday, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to carve out my schedule. So timers, scheduling, blocking are really great ways to do what you love and what you hate to do. And then if you have funding, it's also hiring as you delegate out tasks. So let's move on from here. Thanks for sharing. We're going to learn from each other today. So what's next is after the State of the Union is what is your theme for the year? I know this is like a little bit woohoo, but what might be your one word that you're going after? What have you learned from what you've done in the last year that you really can focus on this year? And some of the questions that might help you get there is, have you been in your zone this last year? Oh, sorry, I did that second. Two of the same. So have you been in your zone last year, and have you been in your zone this year in January, and how does it feel? Are there any obstacles that you have? Has it gotten you closer to your 5-year dream or your big, hairy, audacious goal? So think about those things as you say, okay, I'm going to focus. Somebody in the chat said focus. I'm going to focus on one theme, one word, one sentiment for this next year. I'll let you guys write out whatever you need to do. Writing out is really, really therapeutic. I'll give you a minute. Well, thank you, Roman, for sharing in the chat. And Katie also, believe is your word, Katie. Right, Katie, correct? Kathy, Katie, okay. Kelly. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I forgot, sorry. And then Roman, thank you. His one word is market. I love that. And he has been in the zone last year, and this year, not so much. And that's okay. There's a lot going on in January. It feels like a whole year already in January, seems to me. And obstacles connecting with people. I think that's really hard for a lot of people, right? Is that what kind of good people, maybe values aligned people, connecting with people online or not online because you don't want to, connecting people in real life. Making a point to connect with people is hard for some people. Sometimes it's just incredibly difficult to find those people. So I know for me, thank you for bringing this up, Roman, is that I'm finding, and we're really focused in at my not-for-profit Stella, is that we're connecting with smaller groups of people. We did, we have this big platform that we work on and people can connect virtually, but we're finding that a lot of people want that in-person real connection with people. So I promised my angel and investor group of ladies is that we're going to get together every quarter, right? Just to connect over breakfast. And if it is 5 ladies or 20, it doesn't matter. But I think that I'm seeing that theme a little bit of people wanting that. So it's an obstacle, but also an opportunity. Did it get you near the 5-year dream of or BHAG? Is yes, thank you. That's great. And mine I wanted to share is I'm always sharing because I want you to have a good example. And 2024 was presence. I was working part-time, multiple different places. And then I got a full-time position in September, and I had my oldest son getting married. My daughter was going off to college, and I was an empty nester. So it was just like way too many things in 2024, and the election, all that. So I just focused on presence, is that I just wanted to be present whenever I was somewhere, right? And being mindful of me being there for everybody that I have to be there for, and for myself. And I think in 2025 for me, true abundance, because I always say abundance is super important. You probably hear me writing about it. I think I write about it because I'm challenged by it, right? So I had my TEDx talk go crazy in August and September, and I have to force myself or challenge myself to really think truly abundantly of my own kind of path. I think about everybody else's, right? As an advisor, I always do that. So that's just something that I'm challenging myself with, and that's why I put that as my word. Matt, thank you for sharing. I haven't found my founder tribe that has a good, authentic vibe in Michigan. Looking forward to moving to San Diego in a few months. Oh my gosh, Matt, yay. You got to come visit us at University of San Diego. So, and there's so many people to meet in San Diego. And authenticity is very hard, right? When everybody's kind of online and all that. So, yeah, when you're moved, just connect with us, and we would love to have you. So, breakfasts are great here in San Diego. A lot of people love to do brunches. There's what's it called? Founders Hike through with Neil Bloom. So there's so many things to do. Okay, so connect with people and get out there and connect. I know it's hard for some people, but you got this. Okay, so I'm going to go now down. I did a lot of strategic stuff. We're going to go down to KPIs. I'm not going to have you write out all your KPIs, but one of the things is it's a little bit of a dream piece. Is imagine you go on vacation for a month and can only speak with your staff for about 10 minutes per week. What are the leading indicators that tell you your business is doing well in your absence, right? So again, it's just maybe 5 things that you might want to ask your staff. If you have, just dream of having a staff. I'm going to dream too. Boop, boop. Yes, yes, right. But you have 10 minutes per week. And what would you ask them? And to help you with that, I know this is a lot, but these are the typical KPIs that people have for startups and for businesses. Maybe one of these is the ones that you would ask them. So I'll give you another minute with some jazz to see if any of these line up, or if you have other ones. Okay, that was about a minute. Thank you, Roman. You're on fire here, giving me some good stuff on chat. So if anybody wants to share your KPIs, love this, Roman. Number of potential customers reached out to. I love that. Because you probably know if you have these potential customers coming in and reaching out to, you know, who actually becomes an actual customer. A number, yeah. So new customer needs identified from actual customers. I love that. and non-zero revenue generated. So yes, for sure, that would be fantastic. Oh, yeah, great. Thank you, Allison. Number of new support tickets. So I love that you guys are thinking about acquiring customers, right? Roman, I love that you say new customers needs identified. One of the things that to think about is that tapping into your existing customers is easier than finding new. So customer retention is easier in so many words than customer acquisition. So I would just challenge everybody who's kind of thinking about new ones is that you kind of alluded to that a little bit, Roman, is like the needs identified. Maybe go back to your customers and maybe a lull or sometime the KPIs, like how many customers do we have and what is our retention rate? So I really love that because then you can actually understand why do customers stay, what's the stickiness aspect of it, and answer those questions so that you know when your new acquired potential customers come in, you know exactly what to do with them. Okay. And then Kelly, you also said of leads and signups, churn, rate, employee satisfaction. Yeah. So number of leads, signups, churn rate, and employee satisfaction. I love that. Because also employee satisfaction, thank you for bringing that up. If you do have team members, is the number one reason why a startup fails is team, right? Co-founder disagreements, advisor disagreements, and team, that the team gets to you know, kind of break apart. You don't want that, right? Because you've built so hard, you've done so much to build the startup up. And then if the team is not excited about working together or is not incentivized to work there, that's something to just be aware of. So great call on that. And thanks, Allison, for one-upping that one. And we'll be sharing these slides afterwards, so you don't have to write down all of this, or you can also take a screenshot if you want to. Then I promise to go into competitive advantage. If anybody has taken my pitch prep class, you'll see that this is part of the typical pitch deck example. So this is an XY axis of looking at your competitors. I put this here because sometimes we forget, right? If you're like in the grind of creating your startup or that you've been around for a little bit, but what are the two levels of competitive advantage that you really do really well? So like this is a made up company, FunFabFit AI. It is a platform for businesses to do well in business. Very easy, right? It's a made up name and a made up company. But what's important is clarity on the platform and affordability for our customers versus the cost is up here versus low cost and premium is down here. And this is where FunFabFit AI stands in on the top right. So if you kind of know who your customers are, you can probably do this in like 30 seconds, right? Do an XY, what are customers thinking that you do really, really well? Two things, not 5 variables, 2 variables. And where are the other competitors playing? Sometimes you have like smaller competitors that maybe are grouped together, put them all in like little dots and see like, why are they all together? What are they doing for their customers or what are they not? And you have this opportunity to be in the top right quadrant. So this was just a reminder of when you set SMART goals, what can you learn? What can you research about you continuing to be in this top right quadrant? That was just all that I wanted to kind of go through with this. We're going to go into SMART goals in a little bit. Just going through this very easily. SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound or timely. So I have a little bit of questions that you could ask yourself, and I'll toggle back to this when we're doing all of our goals. So specific is, what do I want to accomplish? Where is it going to be accomplished? Which things are being a requirement or constraint? Why are you doing it? Measurable is if you are doing a goal and there's no number on that goal, challenge yourself to say like, okay, how many customers? Is it 5? Is it 20? Is it 100? And again, it doesn't have to be like, it has to be 55.5. No, right? It can be 50, it can be 20, it can be 10, just approximation so that you can set the goals that are measurable every single month or every single week. And then you're like, did I get that done? And if you're like, no, I didn't, it's at 0, or is that 1, or is it 2, or is it 5, or is it 20? Then you're like, oh, why was that easy for me to do? Why was that attainable for me to do? Why did my team not do it? Why do they do it? And then next is attainable. How am I going to do it? You can attain most any goal you set when you plan your steps wisely and use timeframes and stuff like that. Realistic, is it relevant to the development of your business? Is it challenging but realistically achievable? All of those things are important for you to ask yourself and make sure that that goal is written correctly. And then timely, when are you going to achieve the goal? I'm going to get this goal done by the end of the year, right? Have a deadline that you will be achieving those goals. With that, I wanted to make sure that we are also thinking about, if you are raising money or if you are a startup, goals that get you closer to filling out the 5 M's of investing for investors, right? That had those 5 are management, model, money, momentum, and market, right? And I gave you a little bit of what you need to do to polish and prep for these 5 M's, right? So if you're thinking about, oh, what are the goals that I need to do to get closer to an investor saying yes, right? This might help you, right? You might have all of these things. These are very like low level, easy things for you to do to set a goal. That's really easy. And a goal could be also making sure that you're set up for investors, and then just kind of go through this so that by the time that you're done with all of these questions, you are one step further along with, and to be in front of that investor and have a successful fundraise. So management is like, who's on your team? Do they have the startup on their LinkedIn profiles? If you have contractors, ask if they are comfortable with them being on your pitch deck. Advisors and mentors, ask for permission to be on your pitch deck. And then advisors with equity, ask if they can add to their LinkedIn and maybe polish agreements. If you don't have an agreement with them yet, do an agreement. That's something to kind of work on this next year. And then also working on your team values and your operating principles. Operating principles are really important when you're growing your team. So for example, at my not-for-profit Stella, we have operating principles too that were really important for our team to kind of grow better together and more cohesive. One is assume best intent. So that's an operating principle. If you are kind of frustrated with a team member or you're stuck, you first and foremost, you assume good intent. That person who's working right next to you virtually, she or he is not like trying to diminish you or anything like that. It's about uplifting everybody. And secondly, we were having a challenge with our core team going to other people for asking for advice and did not look inwards. And we needed people to continue looking inwards because we have so much great strength on our team. And people were thinking like, why are you going someplace else? I know that really well. And then that person got hurt. Their feelings got hurt. Or you went someplace else and like, you really shouldn't, because we need to keep our operations under control. So our operating principle is that we seek our team's advice first, internal team advice first, before seeking outside support, right? You can do outside support, but you first look internally. Next is model. What's your business model? Have you tested it, even a little bit? Has it been proven by you or a competitor or in the industry? So an investor might be like, look, you haven't proven the business model because you're about a year out, but you can say, hey, a competitor has a subscription model, or the competitor already tested this and it actually works. The business model works, but we have an innovative new way of doing it. Or in the industry, it actually works in this industry because a subscription model is very easy for customers to acquire and understand, right? So think about, how do I communicate the model? The money is, how much are you fundraising? Obviously, you probably already know that, but it should be about a 12 to 18 month runway. How much do you need? Is your cap table cleaned? Does it need to be cleaned? And lastly are you incentivized enough as you're building out your investor team and people that are investing in you? You might go down percentage, and are you incentivized enough? That's something to clean up in a year's time if you need to be incentivized more. And also you're incentivized, your team is incentivized. So you can set up an options pool if you don't have an options pool, so that the team is more ready to work a lot right alongside you. Who are your top investors? Do you have an investor persona? That's more about dilutive funding. And then momentum is the next thing. Traction on the business, on the business and technical milestones. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I have an MVP. I'm like, what have you done in the business? You're like, oh, I have an LLC. And then I ask the entrepreneur, like, oh yeah, we have a partnership here and we have a this and we have a that. I'm like, we have to talk about that, right? Those are the easy things as opposed to technical, but that is momentum and traction. So are partnerships solidified? Do you have LOIs? That's letter of intent, or MOUs, memorandums of understanding. Make sure that you have them all written out. Pitch competitions, grants, that's non-dilutive funding, typically. So are you doing all those momentum pieces? Is it part of your plan? Is it part of your goals for the year? And then lastly is market. How big is your market? You need to know your TAM, SAM, SOM. That's total addressable market, serviceable, attainable market, and serviceable, addressable market and obtainable market. If you don't know what those are, we're here at the Brink to help you out. But how big is that? And do you have documentation around that market size? Articles or reports, don't buy anything, right? But do you have some kind of documentation that if an investor asks you, you can just send them your way, and then know about your exit potentials. Okay, with that, I think that I'm not going to go through the North Star exercise. I'm going to go straight into goals. Yeah, let me see the chat really quick. Okay, thank you, Andre, for adding your KPIs. Allison, can you elaborate on what a clean cap table means to you, and what does incentivized enough mean? Is that the investor, founder, something else? Great. So a clean cap table is that, let's say you don't even have an Excel sheet going. You should have an Excel sheet, right? First and foremost. Then it's like, okay, you gave away a little bit of equity to a secretary. And this has happened in the past with some of the portfolio companies that we were looking at. And it's like, well, we never really went back to her and asked her, can we buy her out? Or let's say the co-founders have a handshake agreement on, let's say, a 40-60 split. Well, do you have an agreement? Is it actually on the cap table? Have you allocated the stocks accordingly? So that's like a little bit of the clean cap table of things that sometimes are just like there. You're like, oh, I need to do it. Well, just do it, right? Do it. This is your year to get it done. So put a goal together to clean that up, because no matter what, when you get to, let's say, Series A, Series B, and there's going to be VCs that ask you to do it anyways, you can just say, look, I'm good. We have a clean cap table. We have investors that are giving us value. And then, and what does incentivize enough mean? That's a matter of the team, right? So I've seen companies at, like, let's say, seed plus stages, that the two co-founders were at 5% each, 5% for 10% total, because they had taken on so much investors and they took all of the company. And do you think that those founders are incentivized? No. And that was something that actually came up in the due diligence, saying they are not incentivized enough. So talk to your team, talk to your co-founder, talk to yourself, basically in the mirror, or any of your advisors, and say, okay, am I doing the right thing? Especially when you set up options pools. So options pools are typically 20% of your total, company, that you keep it aside for any key hires that you're bringing in. So when you do that, you're going to be at 80% of total, right? And then see, like, are you incentivized with 40-40 with two co-founders or with some advisors? What does incentivization for you look like? And then you're going to get some other investors saying you are incentivized or not when you're going down as a percentage. So hopefully that helped you. Okay, great, Allison, that's good. And then other people have been talking about KPIs. Yeah, perfect. The appointment online, extending the product line, it's so great. Okay, so let me just stop here really quick and then get my this PDF. Hopefully you can just copy this. Here is the link it's on my Google Drive. So you can get that. If somebody does get that, can somebody just give me a thumbs up that you were able to access it? It should be, I have editor privilege to everybody. No? Yes? Yes, okay, thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. So, this is just a PDF that you can download, for goal setting. So we're gonna go into that right now. I'm gonna go back here, and get out of here. And start the sharing again, because I have to unshare and then share and then unshare. So sorry about that. So here is this slideshow. And I'm going to go to the, your 1-year goal. So that first, page, you are going to see the 5-year goal and the 1-year goal. And I think it's like on page 3 of that goal setting session. And you really want to make sure that you're thinking about the overarching goal that you're going to get to by December. And a lot of people start like writing feverishly of like, I'm going to do this and this and this. What is it that you're going to do? It's more of like, we need 200 clients to be able to do this, and we want to get our MVP to this. Not too much detail, because we're going to go into 10 goals that you're going to set in a little bit. So just overarching goal that you're going to achieve. I'm going to get out of here and go back to, I think it's this one. Yes. So you'll see, can everybody see this PDF? Can't see everybody. Everybody can see the PDF on my screen. Yeah, okay, great. You guys are rocking it. Thank you. So this right here is the 5-year goal, if you want to write that out, and the 1-year goal that you want to get to by December 31st, 2025. I'm going to put on one more minute of music. That was about a minute there. We had somebody share, thank you, Roman. Paying customers, generating enough revenue to sustain development costs. So I love that. And I would just say you don't have to share it, because I know it's sensitive information about how much does development cost mean to you. And I would also think about it, and you know this, right? But just kind of for everybody in the room, is that development costs might be like the cost of goods sold, like the COGS of the development costs, and like somebody on your team. So if you can separate out those two, then you're like, okay, I can sustain this team member going through at like 25% time, and then my development costs are this much, or if it's all together, that's fine. But just making sure that you know how much are you needing to generate from customers to sustain that development cost. Now, sustain is also a tricky, slippery slope, right? Because sustaining development costs means that you have monthly development costs every single month or something like that, and you need to sustain that with sustaining, let's say, monthly recurring revenue customers or annual recurring revenue customers. So just be more like, I love that you shared this, and I feel bad that I'm like breaking it up, but be as specific as possible about that. Okay. So that you know what you need to go back to. Okay, we have, once I go live, I want to onboard at least 2 hosts a week and have a lead on 5. That is great, right? And then you'll know, Matt, as you have 2 hosts a week, how much is that as a recurring revenue, or a host equals this much lifetime value. Really play with CAC and LTV. So that's customer acquisition cost and lifetime value, and see how do I get more insight onto it. You're not going to know it right now, right? That's hard, right? But see how you can lower that CAC and increase the LTV. And you're always going to kind of be thinking about those two things. But if you're always writing it down and you're like, okay, the lead is 5 and 2 and all that, you can really get into a rhythm. Yeah, so Kelly says also 5 retirement centers, Starbucks, 200 home units, Series A and seed round. That's wonderful. So whenever somebody has a seed or pre-seed round, one of the goals that I would recommend is a consistent goal of investor relations goal, right? So that you're going to meet, let's say, 5 new investors per month, or you're going to meet 10 online, and take 2 out for coffee to have a one-on-one meeting. Sometimes you can't do coffee because it's over Zoom, but just if you're continuing this interview process with investors, then when you really need to raise, you're not like, and now I have to create my list and now I have to reach out. They've always been interacting with you and relationship building with you. Okay. Okay, so this is great. We're going to go back to this sheet. Hopefully people can see it because I have like everything open right now. So we're going to go into the 12 goals that I have here. You'll see that the goals are here in these boxes, and there's 12 of them. And I'm going to give you about like 5 minutes. We don't have a lot more time together, so I just don't want to use the whole time to fill this all out. But some people like to go through all the goals. I do all 12. Again, specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and time bound. Then then you can go through all of them, or you do one goal that has the goal, the action items, and the resources. So the action items, the goal could be, I'm going to take one a day. Matt's onboard at least 2 hosts a week and have a lead for 5. The action items are, how are you going to get those onboarded leads, right? So reach out to partners, or give a talk, or do Google ads, or do whatever it needs to be to get that lead in. And then my other action item would be, and have a lead on 5, meaning do you have an operations that allows you to go from awareness and doing that whole sales cycle, awareness and buying and retention and all that. Do you have that kind of set out? That could be an action item. And the resources is, if you can do it, awesome. But if you need to pay for Google Analytics or Google ads, then put that resource in there. So that's how you build out one goal, and then you do it for each one of those goals. Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 minutes. I know it's really hard, but at least get one done. Or if you need to just write 5 of them out, really high level, go do that. Just get something done right now. Okay, we're running out of time, so I'm gonna stop you guys here. Sometimes I feel like when I just start going, I can at least like for the next hour or in the morning, go through a couple more goals, and now you know that where you want to be in a year, you can create those 12 goals. I also like to think about the goals being like an operational goal, a financial goal, business development, sales, marketing, and personal, right? So think about, all the pieces to your company and make sure that there's one goal for each one. And you're like, oh, I got it, right? I'm growing a really solid business. So if you go down this PDF, it's all these goals are laid out like this. And the next thing, we only have 5 more minutes, but I'll go through these 2 next sections with you, is that one way of doing kind of setting up those goals. And that was one of the chat, somebody said in the chat, they want their first Q1 done. So this is a way to do it. So you have here, Q1 is January, February, March, and these squares. January, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So you can get those goals, and it might be one of the action items that you have, and you're going to throw it in one of these boxes for each month. And for somebody like Kelly, right, that says, I want to get 5 new schools or senior homes, then you can actually put it in every single box, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 per year. The other way you can do it is block it as my milestone. This is very typical. Like my milestone is I'm going to go to a conference in April, right? Because I am going to a conference in April. That's why I could say that. What do I need to do to prep myself for that conference? You can actually reverse engineer back from that date on this calendar here. You can also do it on Google Calendar, but it's just nice to actually write it all out. You do the April and say, okay, the month before, because it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to get anything like tchotchkes, pens, and all that. I need the month before, I need to make sure that everything's ordered, right? My banner, my this, my that. If you're going to go by yourself, just your business cards, if you feel like that's important. Then what do I need to do 2 months in advance? If I get the list of people at the conference, I need to reach out to them by LinkedIn. So you can really go and set that milestone and go backwards from that. Similarly, you can say, okay, my revenue goal per month is this, and just put it on the square, right? That's like so important, right? Put your revenue goal on the square. And then when you kind of put everything together, then ask yourself, is this revenue generating for me to get to that goal? Like you had somebody mention that zero revenue opportunities, right? We always fall into that category, but you're going to ask yourself, if you have that number on there, am I doing revenue generating business to be able to reach that goal? So this is a way to just kind of check yourself, build it all out. And then lastly is this weekly tasks piece right here. A lot of people ask me about this. Similar to what I said at the very beginning, some people get really kind of in their head of like, I'm not doing everything, or everything is too overwhelming for me. But I like to just make sure that, let's say every week I get done a couple of tasks that allow me to be sane as an entrepreneur, right? So my first week of the month, I typically set up my marketing calendar, right? Making sure that whatever I have on my business plan or what I want to do for the year is set up. So my week one task is set marketing calendar. I don't have to worry about the rest of the month. I know I have my calendar set, so I know that I can post and I can get that all creative. Usually, also my clients love to meet with me either the first week or the second week of the month, because by the end they're like freaking out about their goals and they need to just be shut down and do their stuff. Typically for me, my financial goals, and that's why my tasks on the week 1 or 2 is check in with clients. Period, right? Then the 3rd and 4th week are typically for me is financials, right? Making sure that the end, people like sometimes week 4, task number 1 is I just need to review my financials, have everything in a row, scan all of my receipts, do all that so that you're not worried about it the rest of the month. So anything that's on a cadence that you can put here saying, I got that in week 2. I got that in week 3. That allows you to accomplish the goals that you're doing, right? This is very simple, but that is one way of getting it done and keeping some sanity in your home life. So that is the end of this worksheet. And hopefully this will help you go forwards and, use it. hold yourself accountable, maybe meet with somebody else. And I think that that's all I had here. I had a little bit of sales funnel. Yeah, so, let's see about this. You want to, basically for, doing the goals, you want to, gain clarity. You want to seek to be abundant with a dose of reality, right? Of like, I can do this. And if I set up some systems, I'm able to accomplish it. And reach, bless, and sustain great customers, right? If you really have that posture, you're really going to think, okay, how do I bring value to my customers? Am I bringing them value? And are my price points appropriate for that? So you can really think about how these great goals will lead into a really great 2025 for you. So thank you for joining me today at 6 o'clock. I did do it on time. Woohoo! I know we didn't have time to do everything, but I wanted you to be in the right frame of mind to be able to be successful. You know what your goals are in essence. And if you need more support, meet with somebody that knows you, meet with your team, meet with an advisor, and then we can help you set those goals. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So let us know how we can support you. Have a good rest of your night. Any other questions before we end? Okay. You guys are rocking and rolling. Let's go. You guys are going to be amazing. And let us know, let us know how your goals are and your business are doing throughout the year. Okay. We're here to support you. Bye, everyone.